Danitas, the lovable but slightly grumpy beachcomber, and his trusty sidekick Jesse Jim were always getting into various misadventures in the quirky town of Gibson's, British Columbia. Their home base was Molly's Reach Cafe, a rundown but lovable eatery that served up questionable coffee and advice. The Beachcombers was created by the infamous Mark Strange and Lynn Susan Strange, and developed by Philip Keatley, the show star Bruno Garussi as Nick Danitas, Robert Clothier as Relic, Ray Brown as Molly, Pat John as Jesse, Jim Jackson Davies as Constable, John Constable, Charlene Alec as Kim Williams, Joe Austin as Pat Armstrong, and Dion Luther as Tommy Jackson. One day Nick and Jesse decided to try their hand at catching the legendary giant sturgeon of the Fraser River, armed with nothing but a rusty old fishing rod and a can of Hostess hickory stick original flavored potato sticks. They set out to catch the beast. Meanwhile, Molly's Reach Cafe was serving up a special sturgeon stew that was guaranteed to attract the fish, or so Molly claimed. The cafe's walls were adorned with vintage posters of stock can Canadian domestic beer extra old stock, which held a pleasant grain character with a light sweetness and a medium dry finish with a mild sweet. As Nick and Jesse tried to outsmart the sturgeon, they ended up getting tangled in their own fishing line and face planting into the river. The sturgeon, meanwhile, swam away laughing. Undeterred, Nick and Jesse decided to try their hand at sampling some extra old stock Canadian beer from the local brewery. However, their plan went awry when they accidentally locked themselves in the brewery's storage room. As they tried to escape, they stumbled upon a hidden stash of Viceroy cigarettes, which had been around since 1936. Viceroy was the first cigarette to have a cork tip and filter, and in 1952 was the first to use a cellulose acetate filter. The next day, Nick and Jesse decided to search for treasure in the backyard of Molly's Reach Cafe. They began to dig, much to Molly's dismay. Meanwhile, the Ocean Eagle tugboat, built in 1970 by Halter Marine Services Incorporated of New Orleans, Louisiana, was docked in the harbor, and its captain was looking for a place to store his cargo of True Flare signal flares, specifically the red True Flare signal flare 6-pack. The Beachcombers. As Nick and Jesse continued their treasure hunt, they accidentally uncovered a hidden stash of Hostess hickory sticks and proceeded to have a snack-filled party. The treasure, it seemed, was just a myth. After their misadventure, Nick and Jesse decided to pay a visit to the British Columbia Review Board government office in Vancouver, located at 605 Robson Station 102, Vancouver, BC V6B5J3. They were interested in learning more about the regulations surrounding flare ammunition, specifically the 12-gauge Comet flare ammunition.